All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Always Almost There, special edition,
Special.
live. I don't even know what to call it, but we're here tonight to recap fall of 2020, a time of great memories. I think a lot of us really big fans of this time. Folks who were in early were really steeped in this, and then folks I think who came after really want to hear about it. So we're here to talk about it.
Yes, Neil, that is absolutely correct. We've been talking about doing this kind of episode for a while. A couple of years,
Oh,
in
oh,
fact.
we have.
I mean,
Is
we've
that
talked
so?
about it. You have proposed the idea very aggressively in the past.
Yeah. Um, well, the one thing I wanted to point out, the reason why I'm doing the intro today, of course, is because we're late, and sometimes we're late. We start a couple of minutes late, and it's always my fault. Literally always my fault, but not today. It's Ryan's fault that we're late.
It's
So I
true.
just wanted to point that out for everybody.
I'll own it.
So
I'll own it. And for the amount of shit that I usually give you when you're 2 or 3 minutes late, like it's reasonable.
well, I got to do the intro today. I don't usually do the intro. I actually have never requested to do the intro, so I was excited to do it today. I feel like this is a big one. So I'm excited. I'm excited to
Yeah.
talk about these shows because they mean so much to me.
One of them
It's
in
not
particular more than the others.
yes. One of
Which
them
we'll
is
talk
part of the
about.
fabric of my life. It's my identity. Without it,
true.
I would not
Your
be who
online
I am.
identity. Yes.
Yeah.
But we'll get there, of course.
Yeah.
So
Right.
just for broader context on why we're doing this episode, for the past couple of years, Neil has, repeatedly asked if he can talk for a long time about 9/17/20.
It's absolutely
And,
true.
I figured what better time than it's been 5 years, nice round number anniversary.
Yeah.
And let's do some of these older shows that happened before we had a podcast. So over the next year or so, we are going to be recapping, 2020 tonight. And then once the 5th year anniversary of all the different tours of 2021 roll around throughout next year, we are going to be recapping those shows as well. And really looking forward to working our way through that. Of course, we also did a retrospective on Bingo Tour pretty much exactly a year ago. We did it right before Goose last year, kind of in preparation for that coming up. So if you want to hear more about that very special event, very special tour that happened, go check out that episode.
Yeah. Sick episode. I don't think I was there, but
you were there.
One. Oh, was
no, you almost weren't, and then you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
But anyway, contextually, let's set the scene here for fall 2020. For people who weren't into Goose at the time. This was a big deal. These were Goose's first shows in front of an audience. Obviously since COVID started, we're 6 months into the pandemic at this point. Also very important. These are Goose's first headlining shows in front of people, I believe, since January. I think Bowery was the last time, or Williamsburg, was the last Goose headlining show before Pigeons tour. And that obviously took us right into shutdown. And then there was Bingo.
True.
So these are the first shows that Goose has played. And they had only played 2 shows in January 2020 that were headlined. So they haven't played a lot of shows in front of people. This is a lot of people's first Goose shows, including yours. And also, there's nothing going on at the time, right? So a lot of people are watching these shows. So this tour is very important in terms of the band's growth at the time. And, we're gonna get more into that with one show in particular. But it's just important context for these.
Yes, that is important context. I think the interesting thing to note is there were dozens, if not hundreds of people at these first 2 shows who were just looking for something to do. I was one of those people. I did have tickets to the 2 shows that they were going to play at Brighton Music Hall in April that were canceled. There were several shows that were canceled. I don't remember all of them, but it was a sold-out tour. They had completely sold it out. And they were just about to come off tour with Pigeons and then jump onto their own sold-out tour. And then, of course, COVID happened. Everybody got refunded their tickets or whatever, which, in retrospect, thinking about it, Brighton Music Hall for Goose just doesn't make sense, period, like ever. And you think about, they were supposed to play Brighton Music Hall in April. I think it was like April 15th or something like that. I can't remember the exact date. But fewer than 5 months later, they are playing the biggest show they've ever played, actually, I think at Yarmouth, in terms of number of people.
Was this really?
And
I guess wasn't a high bar, but
I mean, the bar was not high.
No.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. According to Coach, 300,000 people were at the Yarmouth Drive-In that day. But yeah, it was. I mean, it was big. It did feel big. There were a lot of people there, and I had wanted to see this band for a while, but I was not yet a rabid fan. And I think that was the case for most of the people there. We were all just excited to be out. I mean, I went with my brother, and my brother and I were just excited to have an opportunity to like see each other and do something together. And we had made our pod, or I forget what we called it back then, but like, the people that you chose to, your bubble. So we were part of the same bubble, and we went to these shows together, and they were really something. I think some other things to note about these shows before we dive in is the drive-in shows, especially. Well, one, the audio is very strange. We'll dig into that when we talk about the shows. And two, it was a level of lawlessness that had never existed before and will never exist again.
Contained lawlessness, though. You could do whatever you wanted in your little square. If you left the square, you were
square.
gone.
Yeah. You want to drive it in? I mean, you could drive just about anything in. Yeah, they claim they would like search your vehicle or whatever. But I mean, everybody came in with a cooler full of beer. You weren't supposed to. But in any case, it was a special time. It felt interesting, and I'm really excited to talk about these particular shows, these Yarmouth shows, because the vibe was off the charts. And we talked about this before we started recording.
We love vibes.
The thing about this band is they were a huge vibes band back then. Everything was vibes. It was all new. There's so much new stuff happening over the course of 2020. So it's some of these things, even people who are fans for a really long time, it's the first time they're hearing it. So it was really cool. And let me tell you something, man. Yarmouth, Massachusetts, which is Cape Cod, is really amazing in September. The weather, there's nothing better than the weather.
Okay, are we talking about Goose here
in September?
Or are you
we are. I'm just saying, like, I'm setting the stage because it's just
advocate.
Like so nice. I mean, if the temperature was perfect, everything was perfect about these shows.
All right, so Goose begins the tour.
Yes.
Their first shows, also their first shows with Jeff in front of an audience. Coming off of Bingo Tour, we didn't know if Jeff was in the band or was like, our buddies around. Let's have him play with us. Turns out it was both.
Because they still were coy about that after, but yeah, right.
There is one show on this tour where Peter's like, our new guy, Jeff Arevalo, like, so.
Hey. No.
Yeah. But anyway, two nights at the Yarmouth Drive-In in West Yarmouth, Massachusetts. Also interesting about this show, because of noise ordinance in the area, a couple of the shows on this tour are like this. There was no PA, and how it worked was you tuned in via your car radio to get. I wasn't there. I just know this. Neil was there, obviously, but it was like they encouraged people to like open up the doors of their cars and turn up the volume and whatever, which kind of gets around. It's probably still loud, but bring a boombox.
Yeah, so that's what we did. I mean, we bought one of those giant party speakers that like lights up with like LEDs and stuff, because we were going to do a bunch of these shows. So my brother had bought a big one. I bought a radio, like a radio that would record to SD card. It was like a little, I mean, can't even explain it. And then we kind of filtered that into the thing. We, auxed it into the thing. And that is like pretty weird. It's weird. We did it there, and then we did it also in Swayze.
Right. Okay. Well, these two shows are interesting to start the tour. Neil's first show, excited to see Goose for the first time. And the first song you ever saw live was the debut of Hojo, which is pretty funny.
It is pretty funny because
interesting tour for covers. Yeah, that one really, I don't get it. I'd love to actually ask somebody someday in the band why, because I don't understand it. I mean, I'm not a big NRBQ guy, never have been, and I'm still not. Actually, I've never really listened to NRBQ, and so I didn't get it, and it happened.
I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, there's a lot of things, especially covers wise.
We're not here to talk about the Hojo, but yeah, covers are
Yeah.
interesting. In this first set of the tour, you get 2 debut covers. You get Hojo, which has been played a bunch, and Well You Can Do It Without Me, a Father John Misty song that has never been played again. So
never again.
Interesting here. And I mean, the only thing of note I think that happens in this show is you get a really cool Jive Lee.
Yes.
You know, there are a couple of these on this tour, and this tour is very important contextually because there are bits of improv that are like, now with hindsight, it's like, oh, they weren't going to explore that idea until 6 months from then, or it was going to be a year and a half before they really found their way to that, you know? So
right.
it's cool to hear those glimpses. But this Jive Lee is one of those jams where there's like a little bit of something.
Yeah, and I like that you brought that up now because it's a good time to talk about it before we really dive into the rest of the shows. There are flashes of brilliance throughout this fall tour. And then there are really weird set listing choices. There are really short sets, which we're going to harp on quite a bit as we talk about this. Time management was not good.
Like you think you think it's rough now?
Yeah,
no idea.
Mean, it was not
so
it definitely wasn't good back then. Definitely wasn't good. So there's all kinds of weird stuff going on here. And then if you think about ebb and flow, like you want to think about these fall 2020 shows as like a steady rise from fall 2019. They're just continuing to get better. And then of course, Bingo was like a really big deal, and it's like getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's not how it went. There were highs and lows. I mean, some of these shows were good. Some of them weren't so good. Some of them didn't really have any jams at all. And some of them had pretty incredible jams that definitely, like you were saying, showed what was coming.
Yes.
And so in this show, you actually get a little bit of that. You're right. The Jive Lee in this show is good. Although we were talking about this before we started recording. There are two things about this Jive Lee. One, it certainly goes far away from the structure of what Jive Lee should be right away, which is awesome, and an indication of what this band could do. We knew this because of Bingo Tour. We knew this because of fall 2019. They were already good at this stuff. They were constantly leveling up.
Yep.
But they do a bunch of things they used to do. For example, in this Jive Lee, it is a pretty brutal ripcord of kind of Rick does the thing where he strums open strings.
The Rick chord, Neil?
Yeah.
We have a term for
this
it
one
now.
is like, it's a classic. If you want to go back and listen to Rick just deciding he is done with a jam and doing it in the most abrupt,
unceremonious,
and unceremonious way, this is the way. This is the one. So go back and listen to this one. Killer jam that, it's I forget, like it's like 13 minutes maybe. And he's just like I've had enough. I'm out.
Yeah.
And like it's not very smooth, but it's good.
The funny thing about that is there's a few times it's really, he does that when they start to really venture into uncharted territory. And there are a few jams on this tour where he sticks with it, but ultimately there are also several moments, and he'll do that through 2021 as well. And I think winter 2022 is the first time that they really let those spaces breathe, like really breathe. Starts in spring 21 too, but at this time it's still like, like they were tapping into something there, but then Rick bailed back into a peak, and he still does that occasionally in 2025, but it's not nearly as bad.
So before we move on, like one of the other things that they do quite a bit early on, so like 2019, 2018, this part of 2020, is they shy away from peaks, which they do a few times, which is really interesting. Like it's like Ben will push towards a peak, and then Rick doesn't really know what to do, so they don't really go for the peak, and then it just gets like awkward. It's like weird. And they get way better at that as this tour goes on. So interesting stuff.
This is still very much the Rick and Ben show in 2020. Like you also, if you go back and listen to this, and Neil and I have we've been listening to fall 2020 a lot over the past couple of weeks in preparation here, but there's a crazy contrast. First of all, obviously the drumming is different. Ben and Cotter both phenomenal, equally phenomenal and completely different players, but Peter's sound, especially in what he's capable of doing on the keyboards, but also the fact that his rig is so small, the sounds are thinner. And when he's playing guitar, this is still in his PRS days. So his tone does not cut through the way that it does now and the way that it did starting in 2021. So it kind of gets buried a little.
Key point. He sounds almost exactly like Rick because he has the same amp and he has the same guitar. So if they're straight, clean tones, the only way you can tell the difference between the two of them is the way that they play, which it's pretty easy.
Lead. Yeah, and Peter's making sounds.
I mean, Peter plays leads. They're I mean, what is it? Is it Legend Valley where he plays the solo in Madhavan? Like, I mean, it's just there's all kinds of things going on. So, in any case, point being, Peter's guitar sounds exactly like Rick's. That's not a good thing necessarily.
So I'm going to say the biggest difference, if you want a clear indication that anyone I think would pick up, listen to the beginning of the Yarmouth Drive and then listen to a drive from 2025.
Oh yeah. Dude,
it's like so thin. Like it doesn't sound like there's anything, right? I think it's also the way that Ben's kit is mixed because it doesn't sound like this in 2022, 2023 versions. And maybe that's just the organ alone adding a lot of depth, but it feels like the drums are just so like thin, the way that they're mixed.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's like part Ben's playing, and the one thing I've noticed, I've remembered, I guess, is that, man, I really love Ben's playing. It's something.
So this All I Need from Yarmouth Night 2. This jam.
So
this is the
excellent
Ben
segue.
Atkin show.
Thank you for picking up on where I was going with this. Like, Ben Atkin in This All I Need is incredible, and I'm sure part of this is Jeff. I can't really distinguish what part of that is Jeff, but it is a Ben show, and he goes berserk. And oh man, this is a special jam, and we talked about this stuff a lot way back in the day when we were doing the very first bracket. Actually, I wasn't even involved in the first bracket, but we
also didn't do a podcast about it.
Yeah, but we talked about it a lot on the internet, and we never talked about this jam, and we should have, because it is absolutely fire. And this, if I were to make it like a jam of the year playlist for 2020 right now, this is sitting like middle of the pack. Yeah, I think it's that good.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really good. And this is part of the thing where you're getting that fall 2019 vibe, where it's just like Ben absolutely going off, Rick absolutely going off alongside Ben, and the two of them pushing each other. That's where they are locking in on that peak. Right? That kind of thing. And this is also fun, for those of you who haven't listened to as much older Goose. This is how All I Need used to be, where the first jam was just a quick guitar solo, and then the second jam was where things would happen. Same with Drive, Echo, etc. All these songs that became so different, a year, 2 years later. But here it's like it's all about the driving pace of that second jam, and that's what they do here. Great work from Peter on this jam as well. I also want to call out the fact that this show, 912, the first set is 1 hour and 2 minutes. The second set is 49 minutes. And the encore is 33 minutes. So it's not like they really ran out of time on the like. For some reason, they decided to bail on the second set after 50 minutes and then play a 33-minute encore, which is an interesting choice.
Well, it's not something they would normally do, and I actually don't hate the choice that they made here.
No, it's just weird. The slow ready fish in the sea is great, but like in the second set,
we brushed past the end of the first show, which the one thing I wanted to talk about before we moved on from the first show is that they played a lot of the songs that they played at Peach in that very first show, and for me that was like exciting. They played the half step
in the hits,
and they were playing the hits. So I wanted to make that point. They also played the bluegrass version of Indian River, which if anybody knows what that is, explain it to me. But in any case, going back to this other show, the next show rather, where was I? Shoot. Oh, we were talking about the All I Need. And then, yes, this show is vibes. I mean, let me tell you something. Everything was perfect that day. The weather was perfect. Temperature was perfect. There was a nice breeze coming up the ocean. We were right on the ocean on Cape Cod. It was truly something. And that slow ready into Fish in the Sea was probably one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen. And it was right at that moment I was like, okay, I am into this band. And I was a little confused because I didn't really know the difference between slow ready and so ready at that point. I was like that kind of guy.
Noob.
I was a total noob.
No, I know we all were.
And it was, I mean, it was something. I mean, that cover of Fish in the Sea, when you hear that for the first time, when you hear Goose cover that for the first time, you're like, oh man. And I of course had heard it on Bingo Tour, but this time seeing it live was it was special, and it was a really, really awesome vibe. Of course, they do Your Ocean after because they have to. It's Cape Cod.
And then Hot Tea.
And then, extending 2019, every show or every other show has to have a hot tea and a drive in it. And so that's what they did to close this one out. And then, of course, you get The Way It Is.
But it's such a weird encore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I was thinking about this. I was listening to the show on my drive home today. And I honestly do believe somebody had to go to the bathroom, because they could have just done The Way It Is and then drive, end set, rock the Casbah, and they're out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that was probably the plan. And somebody was just like, all right, we need to take a break here.
Right. 3 years later, Rick feels confident enough to go pee during Hot Tea. But in 2020, he was not doing that yet.
Yeah,
exactly. It's also really weird trio of songs for the encore. Like The Way It Is, Drive, Casbah. And the drive is 19 minutes. Like it's not like they played a 6-minute drive here.
Yeah. And it's good. It's actually like a pretty decent drive. Definitely worth going to listen to. And well, The Way It Is also is worth going to listen to. So
yeah. Speaking of which, by the way, if people want to go listen to wherever you're watching or listening to this right now, there's a link in the description to a playlist of highlights from this tour that we put together. So you can go check that out for all the notable moments. I actually don't think the All I Need from the 12th is on there, but
should be.
Add that.
Yeah, add it. Go listen to that. Like really, if you're going to listen to anything from these two shows, go listen to those two. Then when you're done with that, go. Yeah, and then listen to the Slow Fish, because that's sick also. But for different reasons.
Goose wasn't doing segues at this time. Like segues did not exist pretty much. So this was a cool thing.
Especially like ARP segues, which are like now a huge thing in 2025. And
it just wasn't a thing. All right. It wasn't a thing. Next stop on the tour, we get a few days off. Little home state. I actually don't know, where is Morris, Connecticut. Is it near New Haven-ish?
Let me tell you some stories about Morris, Connecticut. No, it's from Northwest Connecticut, where I grew up. So it's like up in like the tail of the Berkshires. It's a very rural place. There are a lot of farms.
Yep.
Which
South Farms.
Yeah. So it's like a lot of farmland. So there's like rolling green hills of land that's been cleared of trees for a couple hundred years now for farming. It's a really pretty place. When you think about like idyllic New England, that is what Morris, Connecticut. Yes, very much so.
And we get a classic case of Goose time management here. 90-minute first set.
Sick.
And then the second set is a whopping 52 minutes.
Not sick.
And then a 16-minute Disco Inferno encore. We're really cooking here.
Hey, listen.
Okay,
we'll get to the Disco Inferno,
but it's like
it is good.
They might as well play
it's really
Hot
good.
Tea again. But anyway, this show is notable because it produced the Jam of the Year 2020, the winner of the first bracket.
The winner of the Jam. The
winner of the bracket. Neither Neil nor I think that this is the best Jam of 2020. It is a fantastic jam. This Madhavan.
Yep.
Still Peter's fault. For those who don't know, back in the day, the number of people voting was a lot smaller than now. And one fateful tweet from Peter in the semifinals in support of this Madhavan made everybody be like, oh, this is Peter's favorite jam. I'm going to vote for it. And then in the finals, when Peter then supported the Bingo Tour Factory Fiction, which is the rightful jam of the year, it was too late, and the Madhavan won.
So you're leaving out a very important detail here, and that is
the Hosewood is not jam of the year. Oh, he did murder the Hosewood.
Don't interrupt. No. You forgot this point. So it was 916 Madhavan versus the Hosewood, and semis. Peter murdered it in cold blood, and I've still not forgiven him. And I've said
bring
this
it
to
up
his
every
face
time we do a podcast with
every
Peter.
Single time I talk to
every
him.
year.
I talk to him about how he's murdered it in cold blood, and he doesn't. Yeah, well, whatever. I don't think he accepts responsibility. That's on him, not me. But he certainly put his thumb on the scale. He hasn't done it since, and I'm grateful for that. Maybe he chooses to do it again this year.
I mean,
We
he's
just don't know.
tried. I just think there's, more independent thinkers now.
Right.
Remember in 2023, he tried to push the Eugene Bourne over Hunger Salt? It didn't work.
Yeah, I think he was doing that for shits, though. But I mean, it's just,
No,
that's his style.
he believed that. But anyway,
yeah,
this is a good show. And these shows also, so Yarmouth was a drive-in. These were the first pod shows. If you go and watch them on online, these are the first instances of Mark Comito being front and center. Both
Scarf
of
guy.
these shows, he has literally, because it's a pod, everybody had a box. I'm pretty sure at these, they were spray painted onto the grass on a hill.
They were.
Right.
Yes.
And
that was there.
Comito is just he's the only person in the video frame of the camera. It's pretty great.
I mean, I think, that's just the way the dude operates. He's always the only person in the frame.
Right. But here, he's literally the only person.
Literally
in the frame.
The only person.
There's no one else.
Yeah. He was, a legend for a while. Nobody knew who he was. He was a scarf guy.
Scarf guy. Yeah. This is the scarf guy days.
Yeah.
But anyway, this show is, this show's good. Back when Western Sun was a 2-guitar song,
Dude. Okay. So I'm glad you brought it up. Well, I'm going to go through this whole set, but I'm going to do the Western Sun thing first. There are 2 Western Suns on this tour. Both of them are over 12 and a half minutes. Which means they're both jammed out. Typically, the song runs about 7 minutes with no jam.
Everything was all of the Western Suns were jammed in this era. Same with C. There was no such thing as a no jam Western Sun.
I mean, there were, because the Western Sun they played at T's house before this was only 7 minutes, and the Western Sun they played after, which was in Charleston, was only 7 minutes. But in any case, fact checking you. Go look it up. I did this before we did the podcast because it was like, how often were they jamming this? And so it was just the 2 Western Suns they played on this tour. Well, you found the facts, did you?
Yeah. I'll give you that.
The 2 they played on this tour are jammed out, and both of them are really, they're special. I just love what they do with these. And so Peter plays a guitar solo on this, which sounds amazing. It's, of course, more 2-guitar Goose. There's a ton of 2-guitar Goose on this tour. And the thing that I always used to say back then, and I think I used to say this when we started recording this podcast, when there's 2-guitar Goose, listen to Peter Onspach. Don't listen to Rick. Your ears are going to want to listen to Rick. Don't listen to Peter. That's where the magic is. And it's true. He does some pretty incredible things. And I think in this particular version, he does some pretty incredible things. So go and listen to it. It's only a 13-minute jam, but it's really, really good. So backing up a few steps, I want to talk about some other parts of this first set. Let's see here. Me and My Uncle that opens the show is such a weird, schizophrenic version, because it sounds like Me and My Uncle played by John Scofield, which is crazy. But that's what's happening. And then there's significant amount of hot tea in Me and My Uncle. I don't know. It's just a weird
contains elements of
other thing. Yeah. And then the other thing I want to note about this set is that it's just weirdly personal back then. There's so much banter. It's like they're talking to their friends. They're not talking to fans. And when they start this show, they talk about somebody who actually had passed away at Yarmouth just a couple of days before. Peter gets really emotional on the stage. And you hear this a lot. Not that being that vulnerable. Peter tends to do that. Be a pretty vulnerable guy, but not like that. And I don't think ever again after that. And so they dedicate this show to the family of and friends of the person who passed away at Yarmouth. And it's a pretty deep moment. I don't know. I was going to say check it out, but maybe don't check it out. Take my word for it, because it'll make you sad. But this is an indication of what was going on in 2020. It just all felt like everybody was in on it. We were all just a bunch of buddies,
Mm-hmm.
And especially at these shows, there was only 500 capacity in this place, I think. So that's it. That's all I have to say about the set.
All right. Well, I'm just going to talk about this show as a whole. So Travelers getting its first play in front of people. It had been debuted at Bingo Tour.
Yes.
And this Madhavan. This Madhavan is really the best part about this show, right? The first really consistently well-rounded great show comes on the following night, which you're going to talk about for an hour. But this Madhavan is the first holy shit jam of this tour. And, I mean, if you haven't heard this,
Yep.
you should fix that. But it's basically two sections to this. You have that like hosey kind of first jam that I
Yep.
think it's like a Morning Dewy progression, but not played like Morning Dew at all. I don't know. That's kind of the vibe I've always gotten from it.
Yeah.
But that like 3-chord thing that Rick is he's just fucking soaring. And again, Ben, right there, right? Like it's Rick and Ben and Peter, really supporting well. You have a couple of those like that dive bomb phaser thing that he used to do all the time. You get that in there,
which I love.
Yeah.
And
then
so
yeah.
Go ahead. I mean, there's still another section to talk about in the jam.
Right. Yeah. Well, the first jam, it reaches its peak. And then what they were doing at this time, really, 2019, 2020, and you hear this in the Buffalo Arcadia, they like finish, quote unquote, finish the jam and then kind of start a new segment almost from a hard stop, which is interesting. Like they weren't as good as these transitions between ideas, which they can kind of do better now. But just interesting to listen. They hit that peak and then it's kind of like fades a little bit and then Rick revives it and then they just like rip for a few minutes before finishing Madhavan. But yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. I think a couple things I said. That very first jam is the thing that carries this whole entire thing. And they do kind of what they do really well now. This is the harbinger of things to come. This is one of those jams from this tour where it's like, okay, when I listen to 2025 Goose today, I can hear that inside of this jam. But Rick does the thing that Rick does. He kind of grasps melody out of thin air. Peter finds this incredible groove to carry things with. And then they just roll with it. And it just sounds so good. Yeah. And of course, they also, one thing to really point out is they nail the peak in this thing, which they don't always nail peaks back then. They do make awkward peaks often back then. So this one is really special. It's a cool jam. And before we move on from the show, I want to talk about this Disco Inferno. And because it's worth talking about. The jam inside of this thing is, well, there's a 2-part jam to it. There's like a shredding Goose part. And then there's also the emotive guitar solo part. You haven't listened to it. I can tell you haven't listened to it since.
I actually did listen to it a couple days ago.
So, okay. So all the people who are really excited about things like Chicago Tumble and they're excited about things like, Philly Tumble and things like that, go and listen to this. That's the beginning of it all. I mean, it really is like the first one that I can think of, like big emotive guitar solo jam from Rick. So go check it out. It's worth listening to. It's about 16 minutes. The first part of the jam is pretty classic 2020 Goose. The second part is something you had not yet heard in 2020 Goose, in my opinion. So, what, you don't believe me?
Just really quick.
Okay, great.
You were fluffing a Disco Inferno, so I had to drop that there.
Oh, of course. But you should go back and listen to this one. It is worth fluffing, actually, because the jam inside of it is something that shows up later on down the road. Hey, listen, You were the one who was talking earlier about we're seeing things that are going to come later. This is a very, very stark example of that. So you should go listen.
That's fair. All right, Neil, do you want to give your TED talk on 9/17/20?
Yeah, I mean, I think
get ready.
Well, it's not going to be actually what like I made it out to be, but like I will kind of talk about pretty much every single song they play in the show except for 3. That's how good this show is. It's all but 3 songs are truly spectacular. And
The Wild Night, oh baby.
Okay, so that's one of the 3. So good for you that you've picked it out. Do you know what the other 2 are? Do you want to get those out of the way before we continue?
So Ready and Arrow?
Oh no, you were wrong. You were wrong. Guess one. You get one more guess.
So Ready and Lead the Way?
Yes. Those are the 2. Lead the Way is always great, in my opinion, but doesn't really do anything in the show.
That's why I don't think this arrow does anything. But anyway,
so,
go ahead.
I can't explain what happened at this show, but
I can.
something big happened.
They played a really well-rounded show, which Goose wasn't doing at the time, with
Oh, yeah.
multiple jams that are
Yes.
absolutely phenomenal. And wouldn't you know it, the show that is arguably the best of this tour and one of the best of the year, Crazy, is the show that they time managed well. You have a 67-minute first set, you have an 80-minute second set, and then you have a 19-minute encore.
Wow.
Isn't that insane what happens when they look at the clock?
I don't know if that's actually the correlation is there, but I don't know.
It helps.
In any case.
If they only had 7 minutes for the encore, you don't get this Arcadia.
True. So let's talk about the show, because there are a lot of important things to talk about the show. So the switching that opens the show, 2-guitar switching, Wes Montgomery cover, truly something special. You know, I'm a big fan of the switch and opener. It's only been done a few more times since, and really they did a great job here. It's like 12 plus minutes version, so it's up there in like the upper like echelon of
12.
covers. I thought it was 12.
9 minutes. 9 minutes and 57 seconds, which includes them walking on stage and fucking around.
Okay. All right, 10 minutes. It's one of the longer versions they played by like in the top like 25%. And it's a pretty good version.
Sure. It is.
Of course, you get Doc Brown in the 2 slot, which back in the day was the harbinger of good things to come, which is truly amazing. And then you get Wild Night, which nobody understands why they played that one there, and that's okay. And then it begins. This is one of my favorite segments of music that Goose has ever done. They play Elizabeth with what feels like kind of a planned jam in this. Peter starts off right away. The second they enter the jam section, Peter jumps on this kind of, it's like a Dear Prudence kind of mind left body jam, and they really just get into it, and everybody is all lined up, and it all sounds great. The drums sound amazing, the guitars sound amazing, everything is so good. And this jam, for some reason, got no love in the 2020 Jam of the Year tournament, and it should have, because it's the second best Elizabeth. It might be the best Elizabeth rather, of the the tour.
It's the second.
I mean, I think it's debatable. I think you could listen to both these side by side and find something really good in both of them. So that happens. Then they take the momentum out of that jam into the Rosewood, and this Rosewood is, in my opinion, it's one of it. I mean, it's one of the top 3 jams of the year, if not top 2 jams of the year. And the things that happen in this thing are, I mean, they're truly beautiful. There's a type 1 section of Rosewood always. It has an insane peak in it. They absolutely nail the peak. And if they were to stop right there and just end it, that would have been fine on its own. That's it. They could have just walked away from this show and it would have been an absolutely sick Rosewood. But then
Rosewood, Diana.
They go into that second part, which is just immediately type 2, right? It's not it completely escapes everything that is Rosewood. And then Peter immediately introduces an idea. It's just a couple notes and then continues about his business. And then Rick heard those notes. And this is classic Goose. This is the Goose that made 2021 amazing. This is the Goose that made 2022 amazing. Was Peter would introduce an idea, a simple idea. Rick would take it, mold it, and make it into something big and truly amazing. And that's what happens here. It's so cool. It's amazing. So Peter, he introduces that idea. He's on electric piano, which I don't know what the patch is that he used at the time, but
I think it was like
it sounds like. Yeah. But so, Rick picks up the lick, then Peter switches to synth and then starts doing all this synth stuff, which sounds incredible. And you know my opinion on the synth. A lot of keyboard players can really ruin a jam with the synth. It's a dangerous weapon. It can be really good and it can be really, really bad. But it sounds so incredibly good in this jam. And then right when that happens, Rick just takes off, and he's playing just the right amount of notes. He's not shredding. He is just playing everything just right. And this jam is amazing. And it has changed my life. It is one of the reasons why I am here right now talking to you about Goose, because I love it so much. It's such an amazing jam.
You ever wondered why his Blue Sky handle is Hosewood? This is why.
It's because of this jam. It really, I mean, it is magic. Sometimes improvisational music feels like magic. This is one of those times. I absolutely love it. And I could go back and listen to this a million times and I would never, ever get sick of it. Oh, and by the way, one thing that I didn't mention about all of this, all the while, Ben Atkin is going insane on the drums. It's insane. I don't even know how he does it. It's just there's so many sounds coming out of that kit. It's crazy.
Berkeley.
Yeah, it's Berkeley stuff. Yeah. So if you listen to nothing else that we talk about on this podcast, just stop when we're done and go and listen to the host.
See, I'm going to disagree on the one thing that people need to listen to, but that's okay.
Okay, whatever. Fine.
We're going to talk about it at the next show.
Fine.
But
so okay.
Yeah, I mean,
so
this is phenomenal.
Wait. I'm not done.
I'm sorry.
Not done.
Story continues.
So
that's what it's
we
like.
Just have this amazing jam. So you should listen to this in succession. So that we get Sick 2 Guitar Goose in Elizabeth, and then we get this Rosewood, which is truly one of the best jams they play all of 2020. That's a fact. And then it like you get a cool down. Everybody's just like, oh my god, and like people are like screaming, and like let me tell you, there's like almost nobody there. Listen to all these shows. Like people don't go crazy at these shows, or they don't sound loud.
There's like one guy going woo. Like,
yeah, but this one, it sounds like there's like a few hundred people there. It's nuts. And then you just hear the beginning notes of AEIOU, the very first time it was ever played, and I just get goosebumps every time. By Goose, of course, that's what the band we're talking about. But yeah. So it's the very first time they play it, and it was the perfect song to end the set. That 3-song piece of whatever is just one of my most favorite things I've ever done.
Thank you, Professor Neil.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add to that. I don't think I can add anything to it other than like, yeah, it's fantastic.
It's a lot of words.
My favorite jam from this show actually isn't the Hosewood. I think the Hosewood is the better jam, but the jam that I've listened to way more, starting at at the time, immediately grabbed me. The Arcadia that comes in the encore here. I just there's something about this jam that in revisiting it for the first time, and obviously a long time. This is kind of the step between Buffalo and the 4 big Arcadias of 2021. There's an evolution here, and shout out to Greg Knight, who at the time, fall 2020, big supporter of this Arcadia. There was the ongoing debate of this or Buffalo for quite a while until I think Swansea pretty handily was like, "Hi, I'm the best."
Yeah.
But for 7 or 8 months, there was a debate here. But this Arcadia is like it's upbeat, it's bouncy, and again they find this melodic hook that Rick just really latches onto. That's just so good and so pleasing. And it's an excellent jam. Also in this second set, you get a nice little cross-eyed action.
Yes.
Out of Indian River, and This Old C, which almost made the Elite 8 of the bracket, because even in 2020, people really loved the Bliss Jam.
Okay, so a couple more things to say. Cross-Eyed and Painless, when Goose plays it, is not just Cross-Eyed and Painless. If you listen to like 2019, 2020 Goose, there is a beautiful jam that comes before Cross-Eyed and Painless. And I absolutely love it. And it's one of my favorite parts of them playing Cross-Eyed and Painless. And of course, when they play the jam, it's just a shred fest. It's Rick and Ben doing just gymnastics on their instruments. So definitely sick there. And then This Old C, which I don't think you agree with, and that's okay because you're wrong, is absolutely Jed Stone. It is a Jed Stone jam. They're not playing the song per se, but it sounds exactly like what a jam out of Jed Stone would sound like.
I mean, it's in the key of D, kind of floaty thing.
Okay, fine. Whatever. My point is, if you threw that in the middle of Jed Stone, you would be like, oh, this is Jed Stone, type 1. And nobody knew what to make of it at the time because we weren't all Visuto fans. Some people were. I wasn't. And that is also sick. So why did it make the Elite 8? Because Jed Stone's sick. That's why. I don't know. Or almost make the Elite 8. But in any case, you're right about the Arcadia. I agree. It's amazing. It's a funny little riff because it's like playful and whatever. And it's not typical of the Arcadias they played at the time. So it's cool.
No, that's why it's really cool. Okay. So after this, band
Yes.
takes a couple weeks off. They come back. We get back to the drive-in format at the Higher Ground Drive-In at the Essex Junction Exposition Center. A lot of syllables in that venue name. Essex Junction, Vermont. I don't believe Cotter was in attendance at this show. But this show is
Doubt it.
So this is my favorite show of the tour, and this show is notable for one reason, and that is Dave the Truth Grippo. And let me tell you a story about this, because you look at the set list and you're like, wow, like Grippo, they must have planned, like, we're playing in Burlington, let's hit Grippo up, see if he wants to play the show with us. No. So the plan was that Grippo was going to play Moving Out with them. That was it. And they showed up, they were hanging out, they hit it off, as Coach told it when he and I had a podcast together 5 years ago now, like right after this happened. But he said they got into the tequila a little bit before the show, and it was kind of like like if you want to hop up, like, it doesn't matter. So if you watch the video of This Time to Flee, which is the first song of the show, they're around 14 or so minutes into the jam. They've kind of come down from this first peak, and Grippo just kind of walks on stage and starts playing, and the camera's on Rick when Grippo plays like the first phrase, and Rick's kind of like, huh? Like, what?
Scares the shit out of him. It's one of the funniest moments in Goose history is the look on Rick's face when, like, the da-da-da that comes out of the saxophone, because he's like, where the hell is that coming from?
Right.
He had no idea.
And Grippo did not know these songs. Like,
no
clue, just kind of went with it and ripped. And he was pushing Rick.
Yes.
Because Grippo is like, let's fucking go, guy. And so Rick also has to be like, all right, like, I gotta, prove myself here a little bit. So you start the show off with this huge flea. Also, by the way, first show with Peter Clav, made its debut at this show. You get a nasty Clav groove in the first half of this flea. But by the end of this flea, it feels like Rick and Grippo have this instant connection. And I'm sad that Grippo hasn't ever played with Goose again since this show, because I think it would be really cool for 2025 Rick to, kind of have this musical connection again. But by the end of this flea jam, they're already, feels like they've been playing together for a really long time. And it's really remarkable.
Well, I think they caught lightning in the bottle here. It's just the very first part of this, before Grippo comes out, they were already jamming very, very well.
Yes.
So this flea is a top tier jam before he comes out there. Then Grippo comes out. It changes the complexion of the whole entire thing. And then they are kind of pushing each other. Yeah. And I think part of what happens is Grippo is over asserting himself. He is trying to be the lead instrument. And Rick is like, no, dude, like I love you, but no. And then so he's kind of doing his thing. And I mean, this is a truly special jam. This is one of the best jams of 2020. And it is because of the spontaneity of it all. And I think this captures the essence of what is so amazing about 2020. It all feels fun and loose, and like, it doesn't have to be perfect. And nobody really truly, they obviously care, but they're not putting the weight of the world on their shoulders and try to make this something happen. They're just going out and just like, they're like psyched to actually do something again and connect with people. You get numerous kind of quotes from Peter throughout the course of this tour about just like connecting with people, So
he says it at this show.
Yeah. I mean, he says like a bunch of different things that are like really kind of funny, like, because we can just like look at each other and be stoked. I think
like
says
Getty,
that, like, in
Getty, will you turn on the lights so I can look at everybody? Like, I think that was at this show. But also, interesting to note. Now I forget what I was going to say in that vein. So,
well, let's talk about the rest of the stuff.
Remember. Yeah. Well, so Caution into Butter Rum. Grippo's still there. It's fine. This Jive 2 is incredible. It's so good. Like, so first of all, you get, early instance of Moon is Tight right at the beginning, except it's check out Lil Luna up there, baby. And then someone who I assume is Coach off stage just like goes, whoa! Like, it's
the party, dude. It's a party. Everybody's just having fun, and that is a vibe that I miss so much.
Yeah.
And that is part of the magic of this music. We talk about things that they don't do well, but that vibe it's not really there anymore because it's a big deal. Every show is a really big deal. And so these are really fun to listen to get those vibes.
Yeah.
And that
Also,
Jive 2 is just I mean that sax solo in Jive 2 too.
God.
It's so
also
good.
the We Got the Funk tease that Grippo drops around 6 seconds into the song. It rules. It's so good. And then the rest of the Jive 2 is just amazing.
Yeah. So that's the thing is like, you're like, I would like to see them collaborate again, but if they did, it would take some of the shine off of this thing because there are some very, very kind of annoying things that Grippo does in this show where it's just like he's like teasing Watermelon Man. And like, I mean, it's just like,
where does he tease Watermelon Man?
Isn't it in the Creatures? It's not definitely Watermelon Man, but it's
okay.
Well,
it's
in any
case, Man. It's a Herbie Hancock jam, which we'll talk about. But anyway,
he does like a variety of Herbie Hancock quotes that aren't necessarily quotes.
Contains elements. Contains a vibe of Herbie Hancock.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Drive closes the set. You get a casual 25-minute drive, and Grippo decides that he's done. Like they start playing Drive, and he's like, "All right, I'll see you guys later." Like so. There's no rhyme or reason to it. He's just not on the drive.
But then Goose just goes off and plays the 7th longest still drive ever.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
It's like groove. It does some cool stuff on the back half.
That was the thing I was going to say is that Peter's got a new toy and he leans into it. This is where he starts leaning into it. And then boy, does he ever lean into it through the rest of this tour. It's kind of nuts.
God, it's a lot
actually.
Of clap. Well, that happens
in 2021
too. Well, also, we know that when Peter gets a new toy, he uses it a lot.
A shit ton, yeah. So, I mean, good stuff. The show is just, I mean, it's just a cool Goose show. And it is the best sit-in other than the sit-in, I think, ever.
The sit-in? You mean Radio City?
Yes. That is the sit-in.
I think that, I think that the Creatures in this second set is up there with like the best sit-in jams that have happened. But before we get to the Creatures, so Grippo's back for this whole second set, except when they're ready to go on for set 2, they can't find Grippo. And it's on the boards. Like as they're walking, it's like Rick's like, has anyone seen Grippo?
The best part too is like he seems like super disappointed. He's like, he's from Long Island, so like I'm kind of from Long Island.
Yeah, but it's like
incredible.
It's like, all right, like we're gonna start playing, and he shows up in the middle of moving out, but like
and just rips the solo too.
So like when he left for Drive, like he lives in Burlington. Like, did he go home briefly to like, or did he go for a wander in the crowd? Like, where did Grippo go?
Maybe he made some friends. I mean, something tells me Grippo was having a special night that night. I mean, he was extra
it's
assertive.
October 2020. Nothing to do, and Goose is like, "Hey, you want to come rip with us for like a whole show?" And like, okay,
just like hit a bottle of tequila with your buddies before the show.
Yeah. So anyway, moving out, Fifth of Beethoven, which I love this Fifth of Beethoven with the sax. It's pretty great, but this Creatures, oh baby,
funk.
So
a lot of funk.
Even in the type 1 part, Grippo. Locks in on the chord progression really quickly. He's adding lots of great accents through the song right alongside Rick for the peak. And this is a big peak. And Grippo is right there. And then they come down post peak and it literally just becomes Herbie Hancock. And it's incredible.
It's a variety of Herbie Hancock. It's not like any one Herbie Hancock. It was like AI Herbie Hancock, just spitting out every piece of Herbie Hancock that could be.
And they're like throwing riffs back and forth. Peter is just on this like grimy rhythm guitar. God, the back half of this jam is just it's absurd.
Okay. So I have a thing to say about this jam, which is that crunchy kind of bluesy, like almost like Zeppelin-ish groove that they get to at the end. That is the Fred jive. You hear this. That same jam shows up in the Fred jive just a few nights later.
No, that one's more of a descending.
You should listen to them both next to each other. I did today, and it kind of blew my mind where I was like, oh, wow. I never picked up on this before, but they are awful, awful similar. It was almost like they found this groove in that Lee, and they were just like, "Oh, we've done this," and they just picked right up
Goose,
on it.
Goose does that.
Yeah, but it is to me Zeppelin-esque. It is very bluesy and at the same time a little bit crunchy. I guess is the best word I can think of in the moment to describe it.
Mm-hmm. But this is a must-hear jam. I'm not going to talk about it as long as Neil talked about the Hosewood, but go listen to it. And then rest of the show, close it out. Doobie T. Why not? And
yeah, why not?
Grippo is like, no, you guys do the encore. Like, I'm good. Which is unfortunate because a saxophone solo on Turn Clouds, I feel like would be really cool.
Yeah, what a cool show, though. It's just
really cool.
It is an essence of 2020 Goose right there. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Speaking of a key moment of 2020 Goose, the next night, Swayze, New Hampshire, driving. You were at this show. This show also was not officially released until February 2021 when they, on like a random Tuesday or whatever, dropped it on Spotify and stuff after no boards. This was like where are the Swansea boards? Like, are they ever going to release them? Did the file get corrupted? And I think they just were fucking around.
I have theories.
What are your theories?
I think that, I think they wanted to press it on wax. And then at the time, do you remember this? Like, so in 2020, nobody could print or press anything on vinyl because if memory
Taylor
serves,
Swift or Adele.
No, it wasn't Taylor Swift. It was Adele.
It was Adele. Yeah.
Adele
caused a worldwide vinyl shortage.
Right. And I think this was right when they wanted to do this album. And so I think that's why they held on to it, because they had the Lovering artwork and all of that stuff, which actually I'm wearing. This is that artwork that would have been on the cover of that. So yeah, interesting stuff. They held on to it for a while. I think that made people not so high on this show. And I think the show actually is very strong.
Yeah,
I like the show a lot.
Another pretty well-rounded show.
Yeah.
I mean, this Lookout Cleveland does some stuff like this. So this is another jam. So that the Creatures was a jam like this. And we saw a couple of glimpses earlier, but this Lookout Cleveland is the first Just Goose instance, I think, of like really pushing the envelope on things that they were doing. Part of it is due to like the clav adding so much more depth to a funk jam, but the way that this develops, and it was funny. I was hanging out with a friend of the pod, Dylan, the other night. And we were watching the video from this jam, which was the only officially released piece from this show. By the way, they put that on YouTube a few days later, and then nothing else for several months. But somebody like Dylan, who hasn't listened to a lot of Goose of this era, was like blown away by this jam. And
because good.
I mean, it's fantastic. But like the things that Rick is doing in this jam, and Ben does it's funny. He does a very Cotter move where he double times the jam in the middle, and then that kind of opens things up, which I thought was funny. But this is not the kind of music that Goose was playing in 2020. And so it's really cool to hear them for the first time, not just hint at it like in the Yarmouth Lee, but like really dive in and explore this space.
Yeah. Not much to add there. I think one, you get Peter leaning heavily into the clav. Of course, they're playing a band cover, so why not lean into the clav with a wah pedal? That's a good time to try that out. And the cool thing about this jam, and you touched on this a little bit, when I listen to my ear, I hear it towing a line between like funk and like a super kind of spacey psychedelic kind of jam, and then also like a little bit of bliss all at once. It's all happening at the same time, and it feels like it can go in like any direction at any given moment. And the other cool part about it is there's like that playful riffing that you get in the Arcadia from South Farms. It's in here, but with a very different guitar tone. It is dark. It is
Rick's tone in this jam is
super distorted. It is it's so good, and all of it is just amazing. So really cool jam, and nice use of the clav that debuted just one show before.
Yeah. I mean, this is another must-hear jam. There are a lot of must-hear jams in this tour.
Oh, and by the way, the debut of 726 in front of people.
I was going to say, before that, this.
Oh yeah, of course.
A really, really great Madhavan.
Yeah.
I don't think it has the same power that South Farms does, but this is a really great Madhavan. And I know a lot of people really liked this at the time, and it suffered in the bracket for lack of an official release, but it's a great Madhavan.
I got a couple things to say about this Madhavan. So what I didn't say about the Cross-Eyed and Painless from South Farms is that it had that kind of typed head space where it sounds like you're listening to the TED tapes, but it is like in the middle of the jam. And the only way I can describe those types of jams is like there's a riff that almost sounds like pre-rehearsed that gets super explored and it's super spacey. It's the only way I can describe it. You have to hear it to know what it is. This is another one of those typed head jams. There's a big typed head space in this where you just have to listen to it to hear it, and it sounds so good. And I like what they do in this. And so this is a multi-part monster. So it is the beginning of, them doing this kind of thing. So this is like pretty cool. So it's like a little bit typed head and like steers into bliss for a moment. Then they get super propulsive drumming. So all of the elements of really cool Goose. And then Rick does kind of a veto of the jam. He's like, no, we're not going to stop this. They actually started to like do the exit to the jam. And this is like one of these kind of cool evolutions of jamming that you hear in their sound where they actually are in the middle of a thing and they're like, nope, we're going to do something else. And they didn't escape the jam. They didn't pull the ripcord, and they go into another space, which is like pretty blissy. And then they find their way back to the reentry jam, which I think is so cool. I really do. I love this Madhavan. I don't think he got enough credit back in the day. And it's one of my favorite Madhavans of the year. It's pretty good.
There we go.
Yeah.
Second set here. I mean, really solid versions of Tumble and All I Need here. I don't think either of them does anything too crazy, but they're
good.
Enjoyable listens. Yeah. You get Christmas Card that Rick fumbles the lyrics on and then takes a mulligan on in the encore. Which is funny because, in 2025, he does not take mulligans on songs when he messes up the lyrics, which happens a lot. What the most notable thing here, honestly, is that they play the Empress Jam in this Jive Lee, and Empress wouldn't be debuted for another month.
Interesting.
The song existed.
I never really thought about
that. Yeah, but this Jive Lee hits the Empress Jam, which is pretty funny.
Interesting.
I wonder if they were probably rehearsing it already at this point.
Well, I mean, they had played it for years and years and years. Every single guy in that band had played it, except for Peter.
Yeah, but hadn't played it, in 7 years at this point.
True.
But yeah. All right, that wraps Swayze. Now we venture outside the Northeast for a little 3-show run here. October 15th, debut at Legend Valley, a drive-in. October 17th in Waynesville, North Carolina, also drive-in, I think, and Frederick Fairgrounds, Fred, on October 19th, also a drive-in.
Fred, baby.
You will notice that there is a Time to Flee arc between these 3 shows. Other than that, I believe, I'm just scanning it to make sure I'm not missing anything, but I'm pretty sure they didn't repeat a song across these 3 shows, which 3 shows without a repeated song was like not a thing at this point. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
You're also still seeing the clav making its debut on some pretty significant clav songs, like this the Arcadia first set in Legend Valley. Again, I mean, let's talk about Legend Valley here. This is overall a pretty good first set. You get Danger Zone to start, Bob Don, a little happy birthday for Jeff and Matt Kalinsky. And then you get Arcadia. This No Rain was not on my radar. And then I was looking at these set lists like a week ago, and I was like, oh, there's a 15-minute No Rain. Like, that's not insignificant. And then I listened to it, and I was like, wow, this is really high quality 2-guitar Goose.
It was a bracket jam back in the day. Was it not?
It was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I think it shows. I need to back this.
Got a little choppy there, so I didn't hear what you had to say. But I'm gonna say a few things about this No Rain. Well, I'm not gonna say many things about it. It is truly beautiful, and it is kind of my favorite style of 2-guitar Goose, similar to the way that I like the Elizabeth from South Farms. It's just goes to a space really fast, and it just sounds beautiful. And I think the most beautiful part of it is the rhythm guitar playing that Peter's playing. And it's not rhythm guitar. It's such a bad explanation of what's happening on the guitars to call that rhythm guitar, but I don't know. It just sounds incredibly good. Otherwise, you get white lights, loose ends, white lights, whatever. I mean, the set is fine. It's there's not much to write home about. I think this is where I think the tour loses a little bit of steam, at least for me. The jams aren't really there. It's just kind of vibes on the way out.
And they're going outside of the Northeast, right? They're kind of hitting different markets. I'm sure there were some people who did all of the shows up until that point.
Yeah.
Because you can do Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire relatively easily. But now suddenly you're going Ohio, North Carolina, Maryland. Right. So there are people now you have new markets. And while there were a lot of people seeing their first shows in September, you're now in a market that's not your home base and people are seeing their first show. So they know, like Yarmouth or South Farms, like they've got friends in the audience, they've got family in the audience, but like, you're going to North Carolina, you don't have that now. So you don't have that safety net.
True. So, I mean, otherwise about this show, one point that I want to make, the Wisteria Lane that opens the second set.
Yes.
Listen close to that, because you hear the rudiments of the beginning of Dripfield in this, and that is really cool. So by this point, we knew Rick was thinking about Dripfield. I think it was recorded not too long, actually, after
March
fall
2021.
of 2020. Right. So, I mean, only a few months after this. So, 5 months, but interesting that was happening there. Like that is absolutely Dripfield. It is a little bit of just kind of a reverse delay, but it is exactly how he does it in the beginning of Dripfield, and I think that's cool. You get another Hojo.
Yeah, man, got to play with the real clav now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get it.
Show, it's pretty cover heavy, right? Like and a lot of covers that like we wouldn't be excited to see now, like Danger Zone, Hojo, Pumped Up Kicks, and Casbah in the same show.
Jeez, Louise,
and you get like 5 covers in this show. Like, what is this, Richmond?
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, I don't know. But you do get another old C in the style of the way they did it in South Farms, which is like a little bit Jed Stoney. But otherwise, yeah, man, it's not the best of the fall run, in my opinion. Although, I do have to offer this disclaimer that there are a lot of people who have strong attachments to different shows on this tour for different reasons. So if you love this show, I get it. Especially if you were at the show, I'm sure it was sick. Like Legend Valley is an amazing place, and to do a drive-in show there must have been amazing. But to me, it's not the best show. We should talk about the next show.
There we go. All right, Smoky Mountain Events Center, Waynesville, North Carolina. This show is about the Elizabeth. It's not about the mid-set 2 Honeybee. I'll tell you that much.
Dude, it's just like you pointed out the questionable set listing, and like this is a good show to talk about questionable set listing. It is
really interesting. So this flowdown also that opens the show is so long.
It is a 15-minute tracked flowdown, which 1 minute of it is like crowd noise, but 15. That's one of my big notes for the show.
Coach. There's a lot of we even talked about the coach hyping up the crowd before sets on this tour.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of that.
They put an end to that.
You wake out there. Get loud. Saturday Night Goose.
That was. I mean, at the time, I think we were all excited about it, like just having Coach out there having the time of his life, because it did seem like he was having the time of his life, But it kind of lost its humor after a while. But
anyway, this Elizabeth is fantastic. This is another boundary pushing jam. They hit the initial peak and where everything kind of pivots. So, and they do a similar thing to what they did at South Farms, but where everything pivots is when they do this time to flee tease, this extended time to flee tease.
Yes.
So they played Flea with no jam on the 15th. They did this extended tease on the 17th, and then they finished it on the 19th. So that's kind of a fun gimmick.
We'll get there.
Yeah, but just to illustrate the arc. But they do that, and then they very easily, and I feel like it would have been very characteristic of Goose to like go into Flea and like just jam off of that for a while, but they didn't. They resisted the urge and continued in this very like pleasant, floaty major key space. And this patience is here we go, me with the patience. But they weren't a patient band in 2020. They were not playing a jam like this that was more mellow and more introspective. And so this is a really cool jam for that reason, and is like opening another door. It's like, here's a new thing that they can do. And so that's why I've always been really high on this Elizabeth.
It is really good. I think one of the key points here is Elizabeth is a 2-guitar song. So if you listen to 917 Elizabeth, it's 2-guitar all the way throughout. This one, Peter shifts to keys. And notable for the time, because there's a lot of 2-guitar Goose in 2020, because Peter's really not yet comfortable on the keys 100%.
And one thing he didn't start doing until I think 2022 even was on a song like Elizabeth, aside from like a Time to Flee pivot thing, but like Wisteria, he plays the song on guitar, the entire jam's on guitar. Madhavan, he plays the song on guitar, entire jam's on guitar. Drive, only on guitar. And only in 2022 does he start opening himself up to switching to keys in a song like that.
But he does it here. He does it in this Elizabeth.
Yes, but that's because of the Time to Flee thing.
Yeah, I'm just saying it happens. Then he does like, I think, a little bit of Honeybee, and it all just it comes out pretty good. Definitely worth listening to, and definitely the highlight of this show. I think kind of scanning a little bit, the Western Sun in here actually sounds really, really good, and definitely worth checking out. The Creature's not worth checking out. In Your Eyes, actually, sick cover still back then. We didn't talk about it a lot back then, but it was really, really good.
Because it wasn't really doing much, right?
And then the Madhavan in this show, Peter just like Rick is just like, take it, Deanie, and then like Peter just like solos, and it's just it's fascinating. It's a cool version to go back and listen to. Again, like they're just having fun out there. And this is not a typical Madhavan. It's not a great Madhavan. So listen to it for the gimmick, and that's it. And then
Honeybee. You know when you're really hyped mid-second set after a Madhavan?
Oh, geez. Yeah, you just need that Honeybee.
Get Arrow Love Light to non-core it. Like, ooh,
but hold up. No, dude. This Love Light is sick. Have you listened to it lately?
Oh, it's like
really, really good.
Love Light. It's good.
It's an 11-minute Love Light. It gets dissonant. It gets weird. It's really good 2-guitar Goose. Worth checking out. So I would never say this about Love Light. I think there are 2 Love Lights like ever. I would say go back and listen to this and check it out. One was recently, and I can't remember where it was, but similar, longer Love Light. And so
Vegas.
Yes, Vegas, exactly. And so this one is like really good. It's a good Love Light. So let's talk about the next show though, for sure.
All right. What up, Fred baby?
Fred baby.
You guys sold this place out on a Monday. Give it up for yourselves.
Classic.
Certain bits of banter are just ingrained in my brain because of how much I listen to specific. Like I listen to this drive so much.
Wait. Before you move on, like you're talking about banter, like Smoky Mountain, Waynesville was the show where it's like Peter's like, well, at least we can all just look at each other and be stoked. That was the show. So I want to point that out. It's like one of the best pieces of Peter banter ever.
Planting the seeds of a Peter positivity rap. At least we can all just look at each other and be stoked. Can someone make a shirt
or a sticker? I feel like I should make the sticker.
A slap. All right.
Yeah.
Can we get it in time for Goosemas?
No, I don't think so. It's a little too late.
All right. Spring 2026. Catch us out there with at least we can all look at each other and be stoked.
Yeah, seriously. Because we are. We're all stoked to see each other.
Yes. So October 19th, Frederick, Maryland. Yes. First of 3 shows at this venue. This one is not a monsoon, thankfully. But this drive starts off, Rick has to tune his guitar immediately, which is funny because it's the first song of the show. But I love the way that the intro opens up here. Peter has this like really cool, just heavy reverb going on. That's like and I feel like if I went to the first rig tour I did with him in 2022, he talks about this effect, but it's not like a straight reverb where like everything he plays is like super washed out, but there's like an echo kind of reverb deal going, and so there's just like this nice texture underneath the jam. But nice little intro, and then this jam is amazing.
Pretty cool.
Like this drive, like this again, another boundary pushing jam. They're getting into some, little darker thing happening in here. Rick doesn't want to do that for that long, but man.
Yeah. The other thing is there's a lot of like pretty typical tension of release in this one. Out of all like the big jams from fall 2020, I think this is the least big jam. But a very active Trevor in this. And this is a good time to point out that this is the first time we've mentioned Trevor. Because Trevor in 2020 was not who Trevor is today. He was not assertive. I think he was just kind of trying to lay down just the rhythm, and just that's all he was going to do. He wasn't going to push anything. And that was one of the things when in 2020 and partly 2021, when the band took a huge step forward, it was him actually getting much more assertive on his instrument. I think he always had the chops. He just wasn't assertive. And this is one of the jams where the first jam out of 2020 where I was like, whoa, this guy can do a thing or two. And so that is my one point about this jam.
There you go. We get the debut of Ate Up All the Cake later on in this set.
Yes.
Another fantastic cover coming into the rotation, of course. And the Jive Lee, which is the big headline of this show. What happens in this Jive Lee? This is the first instance, I believe, of Peter using the siren sound that obviously that would come to, be a heavy part of winter 2022 and, Silver Rising. But this Lee gets dark. And not only does it get dark, but Rick lets them stay in the dark zone for quite a while before he, rips it back into a peak. But it's the fact that it's like, here's a dark jam in fall 2020, and it's really sick.
Yeah, I mean, the darkness there are bits and pieces here and there, but this one, like you said, is pretty big. And again, I want to point out that this is not dissimilar to How the Creatures ends from Vermont, but this is cool stuff. And the other thing I want to point out about this show is just construction wise, this is one of the tighter shows that they did whole entire
second set.
Yeah. Oh, the wheels do fall off the wagon, don't they?
Yeah.
But in any case,
this first set is great.
They debut Ate Up All the Cake. And so you think about like you're listening to this as it's happening, right? This tour as it's happening. And they're introducing all of these really cool covers where like there's this band, they're a jam band, and then they play like a Jim James song and they nail it. And then they play like a Bon Iver song and they nail it. This was all like super exciting stuff as it was happening. Now it's all old hex. They've been playing these covers for 5 years. I really wish they would continue to introduce covers that make people kind of stand up and say, ooh, like this is really, this is interesting stuff. So yeah, do more of that.
We got Future Islands.
Yeah, no, that's not it, man.
No, it's not.
That's not Bon Iver. It's not it at all. But in any case, sick. And then, of course, they bring back Out Fish in the Sea.
Wait. You skipped over the ending of Flea. They finished the Flea.
Oh, of course. I did skip that.
We finally get the ending. Beautiful segue. Again, this is not a band that was adept at segues at the time. They could not. And the way that this Flea ending emerges from like the synth spacey jam of Indian River. This one's the minor key version. But it's really, really great and cool to see them, close that arc on this 3-show run. But yes, then Fish in the Sea comes back and another insane segue back into Drive, which sorry, we also didn't talk about the Drive into Doc Brown segue from the beginning of the show. Doc Brown in the 2-hole and incredible segue.
Yep. Well, I mean, that's where it all came from. Doc Brown in the 2-hole was just, for a while. I don't know how many times did it.
Well, it was this tour, and then like, see, I'm not gonna look.
We might have just kind of like overemphasized like
Perry was Doc Brown in the 2-hole. Like it was.
Oh, that's where it came from. Actually, I think is like
no, like already a thing by.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, May 8th,
in any case,
5/8/21. Doc Brown in the 2-hole. Perry.
Yeah.
Doc Brown in the 2-hole.
All 6 shows.
Thing.
Yeah.
Also,
overall, like a really good show. I think people were really hyped about this show. I don't think I'm as hyped about everybody else. Like the set list feels tight to me.
This was number one
otherwise
on the 2020 Jive Goose Power Rankings.
Yeah, dude. I wish he was here to defend that shit because like you think he's so wrong. I mean, this is at best like 3rd or 4th.
Yeah.
So in any case, doesn't really matter that he's wrong. We've proven that now. We've moved past it. Someday somebody will send him this clip of me telling everyone that I think he's wrong. I think he's wrong. I think 2020 Jive Goose is very wrong.
I think all of us were pretty wrong in 2020. And I think we all have 5 years of experience talking about this band now.
We're just babies. You were a baby. You were a baby back then.
Yeah, I mean, I was when this show happened, I was not yet 20 years old. I was a month away from 2020. So this drive jam, this second drive is hot and then gets pretty brutally ripcorded by Rick into Rosewood as soon as it starts getting interesting, which, you know, that's what he does.
Yeah.
Still does
especially
today.
2020. Yep. Still does today. It was worse back then.
Yeah, but so this is where the quote-unquote wheels fall off. You get Rosewood, you get Travelers, you get Turn Clouds with a pretty aggressive hot tea tease from Peter. And then 7-minute hot tea, 8-minute hot tea to close the show with Gator from Pigeons on percussion. Also Coach
on the fish.
Yeah, that's Coach on the fish back there.
Again, but like this is the cool stuff. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like it doesn't have to be.
He was just like he was like bringing Gator on stage. He was just like, yeah, fuck it, I'll play the fish.
I'll just play the fish. Yeah.
And Rick's just like, yeah, Coach on the fish.
Classic, good stuff.
All right,
such good stuff. Yeah, we're plowing through these shows at an incredible pace. By the way,
this is it's good. We don't need to be here for 5 hours.
Yeah,
this is another case of classic Goose time management. 86 minutes on the first set, 64 minutes on the second set, no encore. So, you know, they're doing the thing. This is, you know, before this, they were playing like tiny clubs, which you don't usually have like a hard curfew. And so this is the first tour terrible at time management.
Right.
And that becomes a thing in 2021 at a lot of shows.
Yeah. And then 2022, 23, 24,
25. So, you know, we'll see what happens in 2026.
Yeah.
Probably more of the same. All right.
Yeah.
Next, they had announced 2 Halloween shows. They're coming back to South Farms. They let us know the Wi-Fi is going to check out this time. This is the origin of the Wi-Fi checks out this Halloween run.
True.
Because the first South Farms run, they were not able to stream, and I guess they got a satellite uplink or whatever, but it was like the Wi-Fi checks out. It was a thing, and now 5 years later, we are still saying the Wi-Fi checks out for things. So that's fun origin. People who didn't know that. But, Neil, would you like to tell the sad story about what you did on October 31st, 2020?
Yeah, man, I'm happy to tell that story. So by the way,
if you follow Neil on Instagram, it's one of his only posts.
It is. It's one of my few posts. And I posted it like right after too, which is kind of funny. Then I just like gave up on Instagram forever after that. So I drove from Boston down to South Farms, which is right where I grew up, by the way. Very important part of the story. So I know the area well. It's like a hilly part of Connecticut. So it's like elevation is a little bit high, but the weather was not good. It was really, really bad. And there were a couple times on that drive where I was like, I am maybe not going to make it, but I make it through certain parts of like the Boston area and like the Worcester area and whatever. So I get all the way down there and meet up with my brother. And then we pull into the Days Inn in Torrington, Connecticut, of all places, because there's like 2 hotels near the venue. It's truly the middle of nowhere. People like to think of Connecticut as urban. This area is not. It's the middle of nowhere. And I walk into the place and I see this dejected 21-year-old kid, and he just looks like so sad. And he's like, dude, curveballed. And I was like, what? And he's like, show's canceled. And I was like, no way. You've got to be kidding me. And he's like, I just drove here from Virginia. It took me 12 hours to get here. And now I have to drive back home. And that was Noah Ray of Rail Rider fame. Later, became like a big fan of the band.
I thought you were going to say the Disco Biscuits.
Well, now he's a big Biscuits guy. Obviously, he's
Anyway.
associated with Houseplant. But in any case, the point is, he was very sad. We were all sad. We all had to turn around and go home. But we spent one night partying at the Days Inn in Torrington, Connecticut, in the middle of an ice storm. And let me tell you, what a time!
Yeah,
that was.
I remember that from home. Like the band was there, and they like wanted to play, but like I think the apology video, they were like sledding on the hill.
They were sledding.
They're all standing there in like the middle of a blizzard, and they're like, "We're really sorry." But the funny part was they rescheduled the shows for a week later, and the weather was phenomenal. I remember it was like warm.
It was
clear.
hot. It was like, yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, generally that time of year is quite nice in that area of Connecticut. It
was like a fluke that there was a blizzard over Halloween.
Yeah, it doesn't often happen that way. And it wasn't even that it was like a blizzard. It was just like very icy. Well, actually, the other funny part is like my brother and I decided to drive up to the venue just to see what was going on, and we were gonna like shout something at the band. We like, stop fucking sledding, guys! So like we pull up to the venue, and it's just like a ghost town. Like we could have just like walked in, and there's like one printed on paper sign, "Goose Show canceled," and that is the picture that's on my
the Instagram post. Yeah. Anyway, 1 week later, you made it back.
We did.
They reward people with the debut of Lily's Tiger.
Yes. Amazing.
Also, I believe this is the first butter rum that ever kind of got jammed out.
Oh, is that true? I've never really thought about that.
It's like a 12. I don't know if they did earlier, but I remember at the time it was like, oh, like they're doing something interesting on butter rum. And it's just like a dip into minor key and kind of hanging out in there for a bit. But it was like, it's different. They're doing something with butter rum. This show is so weird because there's a lot of cool stuff. Like you get the Lily's Tiger. You get the first It Burns Within since February 2015 that we know of. So that's a big deal. You get Secret Agent Man. This All I Need before the Secret Agent Man is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Another kind of, dip into the darker play, a Mist. And then the second set is just a mess. You get
the
whole show is kind
you
of
have to
mess,
think about.
I guess.
If you're hearing this for the first time, if you are like transport yourself to November 6th, 2020, like no, this show is like what the hell are they playing?
Oh.
And it's funny because I talk about like the first two shows, right, that they played in Yarmouth, and they were playing like all of the hits in those shows, and then you go to this show,
right,
and like Lily's Tiger, I have no idea what the hell Lily's Tiger is when they play it, no idea. And then they play It Burns Within. No idea what the hell It Burns Within is.
Yeah, but it's amazing.
Like, that's just like a slow song in the set. Of course, it's amazing, but it's the first time I'm hearing it in my life. And everybody, like many of the people there, is the first time they're hearing it. And then, so there's just like a lot of things happening where it's just like, what is this band even doing right now? And that's a real slow song to have right after the Whales, by the way.
Right after, by the way, for your show to start, Lily's Tiger, Butter Rum, the Whales.
It Burns Within.
It Burns Within. And then All I Need, Secret Agent Man, Miss. You end the first set on a high note. And
right.
I mean, you get the Empress debut, which is great.
Sure.
But you don't know what it is. And then you get Don't Do It.
There were people losing their minds, going absolutely insane.
About like the old friends, like the old Visuto people.
Like all the Visuto fans. And and then there's like people like me and my brother who are just standing there in our pod like, you ever hear this before? Like, I don't know. It was sick though. It was really good. But
hey, guy, what song is it? And then mid-second set, Don't Do It. Optimal placement for this song.
For my lady.
Okay, well, yeah,
that's what he says.
And then it gets better. Creatures Honeybee. Ooh, mid-set too. And then, we need a cool down after that. So we get Your Ocean.
You get Your Ocean, yeah.
And then you get the debut of Earthling or Alien, which this version having, first of all, novelty of this song. We are not tired of it yet. 2021 Earthling or Aliens have not happened yet.
True.
So we're not upset at this song for eating 20 minutes on dumb conducting. It's like just like greasy funk, which is great.
I loved it. I loved it at the time. I've always loved it.
You
I've
get
never
like kind of
loved this song. So
you kind of get a stop start thing going, but the clav, like the tone is so dialed they're in, and you get those like fun little breaks like the Peter and Jeff and then the Rick and Trevor. It's just it's a good time.
Yeah, you have to transport yourself back to the first time you hear the song too, which is like, oh, this is Funk Carini.
Right.
I think that's like what everybody was saying at the show. It was like, what the heck was up with Funk Carini? But it's good stuff.
Yep. And then Yeti Ghostbusters rap because man.
Dude.
Yeah, man.
Not tight. I think this Ghostbusters rap made the Jam of the Year bracket, didn't it? Maybe I'm wrong on that. I think there was one that actually did make it
into a bracket.
Yeah, didn't one Ghostbusters rap make the bracket?
Oh, did it? Oh my god,
I could be wrong on that one. In any case, it doesn't matter.
I'm trying to think of when it would be because we didn't do a 2019 bracket, so the She Does My Stocks version from Resonance wouldn't have been in anything.
Yeah, maybe I'm imagining that.
Oh wait. I think maybe the one from February 2020. Oh, no, that's the Wim Hof version. No, I don't think one made it.
Okay,
maybe it did. I don't know. Maybe classic. That one. Maybe the Wim Hof one did make it. I don't know. But yeah, man, Ghostbusters rap.
Not good.
A relic of a bygone era. Hasn't been played in 3 years.
Yeah, this show, like we like to think about these South Farm shows with like such fond memories, but this one, dude, there are like amazing gems to be mined out of this show for sure. But
it's not
like if you're living the show, it's not the best show. It's definitely not the best show.
The next night they definitely redeemed things. For the Halloween show on November 7th, we get the Donnie Darko Netflix and Chill. So a bunch more covers, most of which have been played again. Another original debut for Seekers, Lasers. You get Lasers.
Yep.
But in this first set, really, we start off Killing Moon, great new cover. We're like, okay. Arrow immediately in the 2-hole. You're fitting the Halloween vibe. Get a little spooky towards the end here.
Yep. Best Arrow to date.
The segue into Doobie Song is fantastic. It's a great segue.
It's ridiculous.
It's great
so ridiculous.
Segue. Yes, but it's a great segue.
So good. So good.
Thank you. Thank you, Adam, for checking on the Ghostbusters bracket stats.
I knew it.
10-seed Wim Hof.
10-seed Wim Hof Ghostbusters rep. Boy, things were bleak back then, man. We didn't even know it because we were all vibes, but things were bleak.
Yeah.
But in any case, back to the show. Yeah, Arrow, very, very good. So this is the first time that we started talking about like Dark Goose, even though there are elements of it in other jams throughout this tour. This is the one that we kept talking about, like, oh, this is Dark Goose, which is actually comical because you could listen to something like, what is it? The Madhavan from the Red Hat, and then that's Dark Goose. Like, this is not even close.
No,
but this is what we were calling Dark Goose at the time, and it's just neat that happens, and you should go to listen to that and kind of juxtapose the two things. And then
sorry, Neil, we've forgotten a very important detail about these South Farm shows. Doughy Joey opened.
Is that an important detail?
I just remember having the stream on and being like, what am I watching?
Well, so like if you were into 2020 Goose at the time, you were inundated with Doughy Joey. He was like on Facebook and like
a bingo tour and
he had his own streams on before and after like all of the shows. And so like his stuff was like pretty good. I enjoyed it.
I just remember watching it and he's like drinking a beer. Like he's got an open pizza box next to his turntable. He's like eating pizza like while he's DJing.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, and so it's just like it's just a weird vibe. But yeah, it was good.
And then somehow he just like dropped off the face of the earth as far as Goose goes. He's still around.
He's still around. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just not associated with Goose anymore. Great dude. Great dude. Met him a bunch of times.
Anyway, Lasers.
Okay. So I was given an opportunity to write about the band when Taboo's tour was happening. So there was like that kind of collab between um, the El Goose Times and what the name is escaping me of
Surrender
the
to the Flow.
Surrender to the Flow, and John Caruso, who you work with because you write for the El Goose Times, but he gave me an opportunity to write a piece, and he said, write a thing about the thing that hooked you on Goose. And I was like, great, I'll do it. And that was the thing that I wrote about, was the Laser Slow Ready, because it was one of the most exciting, fun things I had ever seen live. Like I still put it up like top 5. And it was because of the energy of the crowd. It had nothing to do with what the band was doing. And of course the lasers contributed to it. Everything about it was just a really cool experience. And I hate to say it, but you really did have to be there to get it.
Absolutely, you had to be there.
Yeah, and
it's
so
on YouTube though.
The whole audience kind of turned towards Getty when it was done and cheered the front of house. So like people weren't even looking at the band; everybody was cheering the front of house after the thing, and it was really something. And Goose has never done lasers ever again. It's just it was cool.
Love to see.
Also,
love to see some lasers.
the Slow Ready was especially energetic. I don't know how else to
because of
describe
lasers.
it.
Imagine Goose with lasers.
Well, no, it's just you just had like that
just the
sick
disco
arrow,
business.
then you get like a doobie song,
Yeah,
and then you do the Slow Ready. Like I don't know, it was just cool.
yeah. And a Hot Lee, another cover debut, Head Over Heels. Play that one again. Speaking of covers, they should play again. Notorious. And this starts the Hot Tea set.
Yes.
You get a Hot Tea. These were sometimes known as Hot Teases. Neil's favorite term. So you get a Hot Tease in this Notorious, and then they play Tumble, which is just straight ripper Tumble. With you get Axel F and more Hot Teases. Debut of Seekers. First time ever.
Yeah.
Which is great. Like, it was born mid-set to
That's the place for it to be.
Yeah. God. Unfortunately. I wasn't going to the bathroom yet.
Yeah. Well, you couldn't back then.
Yeah.
You had to navigate the pods, and like, man, the pods were very strict about the pods at the show. There was a lot of people getting yelled at. Yep.
I recall this Hot Tea being a little bit different than normal, but it's a Hot Tea in 2020. It wasn't doing anything. It's a Hot Tea era. There's like 3 that have done something in the history of the band.
Somehow they took all the energy of that Hot Tea and wrapped it up in a Wisteria Lane right after that, which is one of the craziest things ever. This Wisteria is so nuts, dude. It's so unhinged. I love it because
they do
it's
a
not
little.
good.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
I
it's
don't
fun.
think so.
It's so much fun.
It's fun.
It's
yes.
like right.
Yeah,
It's sorry. It takes no effort from them. Like they do a little Type 1 Wisteria thing, and they're like starting to cool off a bit. And Ben is just like, all right, disco beat. Yeah, like here we go. And then Rick's just like, cool, we're doing that. Okay. And then Rick like, starts shredding more Hot Teases.
More Hot Teases. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's a fun listen. I will say that this show, unfortunately, the multi-track file was corrupted, so the boards don't sound as good as the rest of this tour. It's like the 2-track board mix or whatever, monitor mix, something.
It sounds fine to me. But
it sounds fine, but compared to the rest of the tour, it's not as good. But yeah, man, it's the Hot Tease set. A lot of fun.
Hot Tease, dude.
Had a blast.
And then what's funny about the tracking of this on Nugs is that they didn't track the segue into Head Over Heels, and so it's tracked as Wisteria and Wisteria only. So when you're listening to it, if you don't remember, all of a sudden you're just in the middle of Head Over Heels and you're like, what the hell is going on? Because that happened to me. I hadn't listened to it in a really long time.
Oh, wait. The Head Over Heels isn't on Nugs.
That's literally what I just said.
I know you said the segue. I didn't even clue into the fact that there's no Head Over Heels track.
There is no Head Over Heels track at all. It's just Wisteria Lane. And then all of a sudden you're in the middle of Head Over Heels and like, it's just, I don't know, it kind of freaked me out the first time. I mean, like, obviously I was
There are
at the
a
show,
few.
so like I knew what to expect, but if it's been a while and you go back and listen to this,
Well, no, and you go and you click on a 19-minute wisteria, you're expecting to hear a 19-minute wisteria, and it's like, oh
you're
no,
not.
there's
You get like
there's
this
another
weird
song.
kind of, it's like part hot tea, part wisteria, and head over heels. I don't know. It's totally unhinged. It's really cool.
And then Mad World
and not
Encore.
Cool, which is amazing. It's like, I love their cover of Mad World. And I wish they did it more often. It really is something special when they do it. One of those examples of Rick just always just like owning a cover, and he absolutely owns this one. Actually, he owns every single cover in this show. I love all of them. Weirdly, the only one that has come back quite a bit is Killing Moon, right? Trying to remember.
Mad World's now been played a couple of times.
Yeah.
But Killing Moon has been played the most. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it didn't make an appearance for a few years and then, made a lot of appearances. But anyway, then we get to the most significant show of this tour, the final show of 2020, Goose 7 on the roof of the Rockefeller Center. This was the show that solidified the Pete Shapiro conspiracy theories about the band.
That's what they started. Like, that's where they all began. Show.
This show was also, so this show was streamed for free on Twitch, and 60,000 people watched this show, which is insane. This was really like,
according to
so, like the actual,
or like,
no, Coach would have said like 500,000. Like this was an actual thing. This is also, I believe, like Trey has said in interviews, like this is where he first had his interest piqued by Goose. Like, like, whoa. But so many people, Neil, we were talking about this on Blue Sky the other day, and there were a lot of people who were saying like this is the show that got them into Goose. And I think there were a lot of people who by this time of year, so through September, October, November, other bands like you have like Mo, Pigeons, Biscuits, Humphreys, they're all doing drive-in shows. And so there's like some stuff happening and people are following that. By December, there's nowhere outdoors that, in the Northeast or Midwest that you can play anymore, right? Like it's too cold or it's snowing. So, I mean, listen, Goose played outdoors on a roof in ski suits, but there's nowhere you can like have a show with people at this point. So there's nothing happening. There's just like some archival streams, that kind of happened closer to New Year's, but this was the only thing happening and it was free. So some of the other streams earlier in the fall, they were on LiveX Live, pay-per-views. And so like people are less likely to just kind of tune in casually, but here it's like nothing's happening. Let's see what Goose is all about. And man, like, in hindsight, it's a weird set list. Like, it's so weird.
It's pretty tight, though. Like, as far as the set list goes, like, I like it.
Right. Well, and I know they wanted to showcase the quote-unquote new material at the time. Like, they wanted to play Earthling again. They wanted to play Seekers. They wanted to play Empress. Earthling, I think, would be the only thing that, like, you don't need it again here. But the fun part about this show also, wouldn't recommend listening to it while you're driving, because there are the sounds of New York City in the background of the recording, including sirens, which
and
from personal experience, I think all of us can attest to the fact that if you're driving and you're listening to this and you're not really thinking about the fact that it's background noise, it's a little scary.
Yeah. I mean, it does kind of mess up the boards, and my re-listen count on the show is so incredibly low for that reason. And it is what it is. It is a snapshot in time of this band that is, I think, truly special because a lot of people were watching it, as you pointed out. That's a lot of people, by the way, for a band that had just played in front of a 500 capacity venue in Morris, Connecticut. Like in the middle of nowhere, just down the street from like where I played youth soccer, Like, I mean, it's just, that's kind of nuts to think about. But yes, the set list is a little bit weird. It is missing on the jams quite a bit.
Yep.
But otherwise, it's a pretty neat show.
But
I mean,
it
there are a
did what it
couple
needed to.
really exciting parts. Like the Arcadia is good. The Montavon that they play in the show, which I still need somebody to sit me down and explain to me how it's called the Funkuvon, because or Madu Funk or whatever the hell it's called.
Have you not listened to it? It's a
I have
completely
listened
different
to it.
arrangement.
Yes, but like, is it like a funk version? Like,
It's like a backbeat version. I don't know.
Like, what does that even mean? Like, when I listen to it,
it means whatever you want. Slow, funky version is the notation on elgoose.net.
Maybe,
and they should play it like this again.
Maybe we should call it the bluegrass version. But my point is, like, it's not very funky to me. It is the happiest version of Montavon I've ever heard. It is just pure joy throughout the whole entire thing, and I find that part to be pretty cool. But yeah, so that part's neat. And then, man, they really did love Turn Clouds, didn't they?
Well, I mean, you got to look around this city. Like, you got to play it.
Yeah, fair point.
But they really did love Turn Clouds here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love is a Battlefield debut.
Yeah.
Jeff Hill, real excited.
Yeah. Really? He's a big fan?
I mean, he jam charted the Grand Rapids version. So, and then you get Elmeg coming off the shelf to close out the first set. First one since February 7th, 2019. This was, again, a big deal for a lot of, older Goose fans who, had been around since like the 2018, early 2019 days. So yeah, Elmeg here. Big deal.
A good version too, by the way. Very cool version.
This is a very good version of Elmeg. Highly recommend. And then second set, Sneakers to start. Short, punchy version of All I Need, Empress, and then Hot Tea, You and Whose Army Hot Tea. That's You and Whose Army Radiohead, only been played twice at this show. Sick. And then at the Eastern in Atlanta next year. Would love to see that one come back. This set's always been interesting to me because the first set was almost 90 minutes. The second set was 68 minutes, total. That was the show. And I'm curious why it was so much shorter,
I mean, they had every bit of control in this situation. So, like, I mean, who the heck knows? I mean, they had the songs they wanted to play, and that's kind of how it shook out. I will say
songs,
yeah.
Speaking of songs that they should play again, Higher and Higher. Bring it back. It's been 5 years. This cover is so good. Like, it's unbelievable.
But they did have to play it there, right? Because it's like Ghostbusters 2 connection, you
should have played Ghostbusters rap into Higher and Higher.
Yeah, nope. Like, once a tour, that's enough, dude. But in any case, yes, that was sick and really enjoyed that. And it's such a really cool song. And I think Rick does a really good job of singing it.
Yeah.
And that's it, man. That's a wrap for this whole entire thing. And it's a lot. There are highs and lows on this tour. And there are all kinds of things that happen. And it's just, I don't know. I'm glad that we got a chance to go back and listen to it with like 2025 fresh in our minds still.
Yep. And I think that this show especially, like this is the end of an era of Goose. When they come back in 2021, like they've upgraded their gear. They have a bus for the first time. They're starting to venture out into brand new jamming territory. And if you want to hear that, like, listen to a bunch of this tour and then go listen to the May 3rd, 2021 Arrow. It's immediately a stark difference. Like they do the peak and then they don't stop playing. And it's a completely new space for them. Peter gets the vintage vibe. Sonically, things start to open up a lot more. And so this Rockefeller show is significant because this is like, Peter has the clav, but other than that, that's really the only difference between pre-pandemic Goose and the end of 2020 in terms of their overall sound. And Jeff, like they added a guy to the band, but I mean, like, sonically, it still sounds like that era of Goose. And this is the last show where the band sounds like that. And I think it was emotional for them at the time too, because it was like, this is such a huge deal. I don't know, walking on stage for them, I'm sure on this roof, not knowing that 60,000 people are watching per se, but like, it's meaningful. Like, they're playing on, like, the world is shut down. They can't play in front of people, and they've made it happen. And people who are supporting the band have made it happen for them to make Goosemas happen, not like a big, like, they could have done it from T's house, right? They could have done Goosemas in Trevor's living room, or rented a theater and put it on in there live streamed. But they were able to do it on a roof in the middle of New York City, which I think is just a huge deal.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big deal, and I think the band was already changing at that point. I think over the pandemic, they were not yet making money. They were a starving band, and they couldn't afford anything. If you listen to, I forget which show it is. There's like one show on this tour, Peter's like, "Thank you for buying merch. It really makes a difference," because it really did make a difference. Like, they were not making that much money back then. And they were like starving. I mean, they were like selling guitar lessons over the pandemic because they needed to make ends meet, And so like quickly, like things are changing with this band. Yeah, I mean, they're just like they're super grateful for everything that's happening. And I think that opens up a door once they start making money to actually just practice all the time. And that's part of the sea change there. I mean, shoot, like I remember, my third Goose show, I met Ben Atkins' mom in line for the merch booth, and she was thanking everybody for being there and buying merch because her son really, appreciates it. And it's just, it's kind of funny how far it's come. And and so to your point, like things did change and change big before 2021, and I think it was because the band was afforded the opportunity to sit there and work on their craft.
Yeah, I mean, the next time we see them, they will have recorded Dripfield, which is very significant. They have another album like Shenanigans Nightclub is announced and coming out. Like, Dark Horse comes back into the rotation, SOS comes back into the rotation, and they're playing things differently, and everything starts to happen in 2021. And I honestly, as excited as I was for this episode, 2021 was, also, I think for all of us, when we really started to understand Goose and when we started to really analyze every single thing that they did. So I'm really excited for me, it was the first time, I was like, I'm listening to every single show. I'm all in on Goose. Right. And so I'm really excited to go through 2021, over the course of the next 12 months. We're going to do those. So we're going to chunk it out based on when Goose played and just keep it nice and easy. We're going to squeeze it into breaks in touring as those manifest for 2026. But at some point, probably after Gonzo, we will be doing the May 2021 recap, which I look forward to.
Or we do it sooner because we just can't wait. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean that also might happen. We've got the bracket, and then so we'll see.
Yeah, big things happening, by the way. I mean, this is still a live pod, so we should talk about like what's coming up.
Yeah, really what's happening? Is something happening a week from right now?
Yeah, I mean, all kinds of shit is happening. I mean, hey, listen, this is our big year or big time of year. So Goosemas is coming. It is busy season for AAT Pod. Of course, we're going to be at Goosemas. It's busy season for you because you've got more work to do than I over the next few days. Night Zero is happening. If you're watching this right now and you have not yet bought a ticket and you plan to be around and you want to go, buy your ticket. They will certainly sell out really soon. Like, I mean, I'm actually shocked they haven't already. There's only a handful left. This is not one of those situations where people like say low ticket alert. Like, it's like not that they're really hard.
It's actually low tickets.
It's like, and like there was like a big buy, and then all of a sudden, like it just kind of sat still for a minute. But I have a feeling as folks get closer, they're going to go. So you should buy tickets for that. Of course, we have Goosemas. It's going to be a big party. If you're at those shows, like come up and say hi, hang out, high fives. I have slaps. I'll give Ryan some slaps to give out. It's going to be super awesome.
Kev's going to be there.
This is my favorite time of year because I get to like hug like 1 million people. And I'm just so damn excited.
Speaking of Kev, first of all, he's going to be at Goosemas, and we're always very excited to see Kev at shows. Second of all, he is currently enjoying a beautiful steak dinner for his birthday. So everybody send out a big happy birthday. Hashtag, can we get hashtag birthday Kev in the chat for Kev's birthday?
Amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for everybody for doing that. But yeah, I can't wait for Goosemas. It's going to be a really, really fun few days in Providence. Goose's first headlining 360-degree arena show. They have the only time I think they've played with it behind was like Mohegan to Goose.
Oh yeah.
But so this is a big deal, and it's like pretty much sold out. So,
Yep.
big deal. And we do not know what the theme is.
Yeah.
We're
I
a
don't
week away.
care.
We don't know.
Listen,
I'm not. I know some people care for outfits. I know that I will be wearing jeans and a band shirt. So I'm not,
one of the nights.
Not too worried.
One of the other nights you have a special outfit. But folks will have to wait and see that.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And then it's bracket season.
Then bracket season. That's what I was getting
lists
at.
Together. Yeah. We are very excited about things that are happening with the bracket this year.
Yeah. Things
like
are
Uncle
happening.
Fred's Drive getting a 4-peat.
I mean, I think all signs point to him winning again, which is okay, unless some kind of new hotshot enters the scene, and shows up and dominates. I mean, there has to be new blood. I mean, there hasn't been new blood in a while, so my hope is that new blood comes in. But also, the nostalgic person in me wants Uncle Fred's Drive to win once again. I never take it too seriously, to be honest. I never have, because I feel like I can't win. I don't know.
But you're going to award yourself the Golden Strange Man? No.
Yeah, I have to gild it for myself. So in any case, gild the Strange Man.
Yeah,
Ryan.
This is so stupid.
No, it's not. It's just like a wonderful thing. So in any case, yes, bracket season is coming. I think we've got a lot of exciting things to announce about that. We're not ready to do it just yet, but there is really, really cool stuff coming, and I think it's going to make it even better than it ever has been. More engaging, more fun,
more secure.
Definitely more secure. The security on the back end actually is security on the back end now. We'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out.
All right. Well, yes, we will see everybody next weekend for our Goosemas Day after shows, our customary day 2 afternoon. Brian, Neil, and Kev having a great time on the podcast. We will see you Saturday afternoon at a time that we will announce. But yeah, can't wait to figure out. Yeah, we can't wait to figure out what Phineas Taylor Barnum and Ephraim Glimpse are doing in the woods.
I think it's pronounced Ephraim, but in any case.
Sorry. Anyway, thank you everybody so much for tuning in or listening to our Fall 2020 retrospective podcast. We appreciate all of you very, very much, and we hope you enjoyed our look back. Again, reminder, you can go check out our playlist of highlights from this tour, link in the description wherever you're enjoying this right now. And we will see you all in 1 week for Goosemas 12. Have a fantastic weekend. We love you. Peace out.